Whenever you begin your house, you're going to want to make sure that you draw using the red and green axes. It's really important that you do this because when you add the roof, it's going to be very important that you have everything aligned properly. So for this example for the open gable, I'm just going to draw probably a 20 by 30 rectangle for the house. So I'm going to start and drag my line and let it snap to the green, and then I'm going to type 20 feet, and I'm going to come across the other side letting it snap to the red, and I'm going to do 30 feet here. I'm going to click escape and I'm going to go to the endpoint here and pull along the red axis. I can come over to the blue. Now I'm not clicking. I'm just going over to that endpoint, and when I see that green dotted line, it's very, very hard to see. I'm going to click and I'm going to end that line there so that I know that when I go across, it's going to be on the green axis. If you use your red and green axes and also the blue, no matter what kind of wonky perspective you're in, it will always draw true to 90 degrees. Next, I'm going to pull this up using the push and pull tool, and I'm going to do 10 feet. I'm allowing 1 foot that will show above the ground for the foundation, and then I'm going to also leave 1 foot for a second floor joist. If you don't have a second floor on your house, then you would not include that last measurement. So I'm going to type in 10 and apostrophe for 10, and here I have my 10 foot by 20 block. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is very important, is you need to triple click your shape, right click, and make it a group. If we don't do this step, when you start to draw your roof, it will attach to this first story and you won't be able to take the roof on and off. And you'll see why that's important later. So now I'm going to start my roof. I'm going to start with working on one end of the roof. Here we know that we're going to have an angle that's going to extend this. If we go back to our example in the roof detail information, we're going to find information about pitch. Pitch is the amount of angle or slope the roof has. This is denoted in two ways, as 1/3 or 1/4 pitch in fractions, and a 6/12 pitch in inches, which means that the roof rises 6 inches for every 12 inches of run. It's a little odd, but you'll get the hang of it. You could also really use angles if you prefer. Pitch is what's used in North America. So now I'm going to do my more angled pitch first, and I'm going to do a 12 by 12 pitch. I'm going to use the protractor tool because I want to set this up before I start drawing it, and I want to know where that line is going to be. And it's kind of nice because if you do that, then you can kind of gauge the type of pitch that you want before you actually draw it. So I'm going to click on the red axis here. If you can click the right arrow tool to lock it into the corner there. I'm going to click and drag across. Now I'm going to pull that pitch, and you'll see in the lower left hand corner that it's giving me an angle. I'm going to use the 12/12 pitch instead. It basically means that for every 12 inches that the pitch goes over, it's going to go up 12. And so instead, I'm going to type in 12:12. I'm going to hit enter. This actually translates to a 45-degree angle if you go back and measure it. So this gives me a good starting point. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my pencil tool and I'm going to draw a line across here until I get to where this purple dot is. Normally this would be a cyan dot, but because this particular rectangle is grouped, it's going to come up as a purple dot. I'm going to click here, and that tells me what the midpoint is, and I'm just going to draw up to this line along the blue axis. I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to come down here to the side, and it will fill in. Before I do anything else, I'm going to also draw a line across because we have to know what our eave is going to be or how far out that roof is going to be. I'm going to take my pencil tool and I'm going to draw a cross on the green, and I'm just going to pull that out, and I'm going to type in a 1 foot overhang. And then I'm going to pull up along the blue axis, and I'm also going to go to the end here, and I'm going to pull down on the blue axis, and then I'm going to hit escape. What this is giving me is It's giving me the overhang, but because this is an angle, we know that the rafter is going to be cut along a perpendicular line versus an angled line. So now I'm going to take the guideline tool and I'm going to pull out along the angle. We're using 2x6s, which actually translate to a 1.5 by 5.5, and I'll explain that later. So we're going to type in 5 space 1/2 inches, and I'm going to hit enter. And now you can see that this is telling me where I need to draw this line. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to draw a line along the blue axis. I'm going to come down here along that guideline that I make to where I found the perpendicular axis, and now I'm going to come across and finish that here. Now you see kind of a big jumble of different things, so we have to erase some things here. So I'm going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to get rid of this line and this line and this line and that line. I'm also going to get rid of this. Now we basically have two different surfaces. Right now, this is an open gable. This is not, it's an open gable, but the overhang is not closed. It's up to you on how you'd like to do it. It's sort of a stylistic choice. If you want to make a closed rafter, you would just draw a line like this going across and then up again, and you would click this one to go away and you would get that boxed rafter. If you didn't want that, you wouldn't have to do that at all, and you could just click like this. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to leave this one open since my other example over here is boxed. Now I'm going to triple click these together and mouse over a little bit above, and I'm going to use the rotate tool. I'm going to come right in here and I'm going to click the up arrow to lock it right there where the 90-degree angle is. I'm going to click, pull the arm away, click again, hold the option key. I'm going to hold that down. And now I am pulling a copy and swinging it over 180 degrees so that it completes my roof. Next, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete this line. And I'm going to delete that line. Now I have my roof and also the wall that's going to extend up from this surface from the first floor. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this back. I'm going to take the push and pull tool, pull that to the surface. Also going to close this by drawing a line perpendicular to close this up. Here, I'm going to pull down and it's going to close, and now I'm going to delete that. So that is closed. And next, I'm going to pull this using the push-pull tool. I'm going to pull this across, and it's going to match on the other side. If you get something like this where it appears hollow, this is actually very easy to fix. You can use the pencil tool and click from one point to another point, and that will close it. And then you just go ahead and heal that surface. Now I'm going to pull it out the amount of the overhang. So I'm going to pull this side out 1 foot. I'm going to type that in. So apostrophe, and I'm going to pull this one out. There you go. You have a roof that is at a 45-degree angle and matches your overhang.